I'm Chris Erdmann, and this is Made of More, the show where we go beyond business to uncover real stories that shape entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, we explore the pivotal moments, the adversity faced, the risks taken, and the resilience found along the way. This isn't just about what people have built, it's about who they've become. If you're ready for inspiration, practical insights, and stories that remind you that you too are made of more, you're in the right place. So today's guest is a man who doesn't just teach real estate, he lives with a conviction that goes far beyond the dollars of deals. Greg Pinneo happens also to be my friend. He's a master negotiator, a teacher, a pilot, a builder, a storyteller, and much more. He's bought hundreds of properties, mentored thousands of people, and lives by the belief that freedom is created through a bold vision, strategic action, and radical integrity. Whether you're in real estate, business, or simply searching for what's next, this conversation will change the way that you think about risk, purpose, and what it means to live a life that's truly made of more. Let's dive in here with Greg Pinneo. Hey, Greg, thanks for coming on the show today.
Man, that's an introduction. Thanks a lot, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, you're thought highly of many people, so this is just a quick introduction. But the reason why you're here is, one, you've had a great impact on my life and a great impact on many other people's lives around me. So I just thought the listeners here should get a taste for what Mr. Pinneo has in store.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I just kind of want to dive in because, you have an interesting early years of life, and I just want to dive in and see what has inspired you to be the person that you became today, in the early years.
Man. Well, thank you for the opportunity. When I think early years, I think of the blessing that both my brother and I had to be raised by young and very intentional parents. My mom and dad were born the same day, the same year, the same hour, wow. in different cities, somehow ended up together. And when my dad passed, well, let's just say it this way. Last week would have been their 90th birthdays wow. and their 70th anniversary, right? So they were together forever. And both of them just passed away in the last 3 years. But we won the lottery with two young kids that loved each other, and they had no groundwork of how to do it right because it had never done right in their life. They had no fathers that were ever a part of their life and that they even knew. And the mothers had serious issues of addiction and alcoholism and were really not functional mothers at all. And so they found a way to raise themselves. And when they were married and when they decided to have children, we became the focus of their effort, and they committed to trying to teach us how to get from point A, which is out the door at high school graduation, with the tools that we would need to go out and navigate the world. So it's their commitment to us was never questioned. And at the same time, it was pretty tough. My dad especially was he's kind of a big guy, and he didn't talk a lot, and he kind of laid out some real guidelines that my brother and I had to take seriously. And we learned to work, and we learned to be on time, and we learned to do what we say we're going to do. And my dad found scouting when he was a boy with no father and was an Eagle Scout, and that was a route that he put us involved in. And so Jeff and I are both Eagle Scouts, and we just were learned to do basic things with intention and focus. It could be washing a car or how you mow the lawn and clip the edge. It could be the way we spoke to our mom. It could be the way we kept our room clean. There was an expectation that if you're a part of this family, you're going to pull your weight and you're going to take it seriously. And he modeled it.
Knew?
Yeah. So one of the things we knew at an early age is that when you graduate from high school, you're an adult. And when you look up adult in the family dictionary, it meant you don't live here. And we hope you go to college. We hope that works out for you, but you're going to have to be in charge of that. And so I think that was the motivation to really realize that day is coming and you better figure it out. And that's what led me to looking for a place to live.
So they set a certain set of intention and even pressure on you guys of what's to come?
It didn't feel like pressure. It was actually very exciting. But it was an expectation. And of course, when my brother, he's 2 years older than I, when he graduated, that was the last day I saw him. I mean, he was out and about doing his thing. And so I knew that was coming. Being somewhat of an introvert, living at a fraternity, if I was lucky enough to get into a school, but living at a fraternity or a dormitory, that was just never a possibility in my mind. Just too many people around, and that wasn't me. So I was out and about and ended up finding a crummy home that with huge cooperation from an owner who knew a lot more than me, I was able to buy it right after I turned 18 and actually had a few months to work on it before I graduated from high school, so that the night I graduated from high school was the first night I spent in my own house.
Wow. Tell me a little, like, you bought a house at 18. How did that all unfold?
You know, I was looking at a rental property, and I've looked at a lot of rental properties, especially in my senior year. It was game on. But I mean, I started looking and researching in my junior year. But I was looking at a rental property. It was such a mess. I couldn't believe anybody ran an ad. Yeah. But when I commented, this guy, well, what do you think? I said, wow, I've been taught to be respectful of your adults. But I said, I can't believe you ran an ad. I'm not sure who would move in here. And then I said, I'm not afraid of the hard work. I think I've got a pretty good idea of how to clean this place up, and I can paint. I could probably put on a roof. I could build a deck. I've been taught to do some things. But if I was going to do that, I think I'd rather own it than rent it. And that's when the proposition came, well, maybe you should buy it. And
did you know you were going in to ask to buy it, or?
No, I didn't ask to buy it. He sort of threw it out at me, like, well, maybe I'll sell it to you. And I kind of went, I wasn't ready for that. But then he put a proposal in front of me, asked a few more questions. And he took out a little book out of his pocket. Now I know it is an amortization book. And he says, he asked me how much I had saved up down. And I was proud to say I had $1,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said, okay. And he looks up in his book and he says, well, could you afford $206.10 a month? And I said, well, maybe. And he said, well, why don't you think this over? If you want, I'll sell you the house and I'll take your $1,000 down and you'll owe me the rest, and you'll have to pay me $206.10 a month.
So he gave you the offer.
He did.
Sent you packing, going home.
And I didn't know anything, Chris. I didn't know if real estate was one word or two words. I literally didn't know what escrow was, title. I had nothing. Zero. I was not prepared. So it was a blessing that I was given an opportunity, but soon after that, I cleaned it up. I moved in, and having no memory of the discussion between myself and my two buddies, it turned out my two buddies moved in with me, and I don't remember ever negotiating rent, but I do remember the day my first payment was due. I'm sitting there filling out my check for $206.10 to make my payment. And Jeff and Kelly popped their head in my little bedroom / desk / laundry room, this little 10 by 10 room, and said, hey, we're going to go take a run around Green Lake. You want to go with us? And I go, man, guys, I'm busy. I got to do this and that. They said, okay, we'll see you later. Here's the rent. And they each threw a $100 bill on my desk.
Wow.
And I remember looking at it and then looking at the check that I was right in the middle of writing, $206.10. And I went, oh, my God. Jeff and Kelly, it's the first time it occurred to me. Jeff and Kelly are like buying this house for me. I'm living in my own house for $6 and a dime. And I think it was fair to say in that moment, I remember it like it was 10 minutes ago. Somehow something clicked that everything that I wanted to do, everything that I really, somehow I knew that this was a key piece to the answer to so many things. Because I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I grew up. I was in college to explore. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't have any special talents. I wasn't given any money. I didn't really know. But somehow, when that happened, I went,
Light bulb.
Light bulb. I can't really describe it. It's like a limousine pulled up and opened the door and said, where do you want to go? And all I could think of is I need to find more houses and find more Jeff and Kellys to pay for them. And I became literally obsessed with real estate at that point.
On that day.
On that day. In that minute. Because I thought, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go get a job. I'd never had a job.
Right.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm just going to do this. And that was almost 50 years ago.
Wow.
And that's all I've ever done.
The fact that man came into your life and offered you that.
Yeah.
And then Jeff and Kelly.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. All within, a couple months of each other?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes there's these moments that change everything. You don't realize it, but it's just a big crossroads just got set right in front of you. Now, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And I made that decision quickly. I'm doing this.
I could see that. I could see it plain as day. Oh yeah. So what were the next steps? You said you just started looking for homes, and what did that next year look like? Walk me over the next 12.
When you're really passionate about something, all of a sudden everything else doesn't matter. And especially I'm young, I'm single, I'm in college, and what's college? Believe me, I would have changed my major could I not been done by 11:30 in the morning because I had bigger things to do.
Right.
I was in college. I'd take my classes. But a couple things happened right after that were also really significant. One, I determined this is what I'm going to do. The next thing that happened is in the first quarter of the University of Washington, I took this, the Psych 101 class, the Soc 101 class, and Kane 130. I didn't even have to move my seat. But the third class that some guidance counselor put me in to fill 5 credits of something was a class called The Rhetoric of Western Thought. And I walked into that class, and that's where I met Dr. Michael Shadow.
Yeah, I remember you talking about. Tell us who.
Dr. Shadow is a savant who is maybe the greatest mind ever in the world of the hallowed art form of negotiation, as he would put it, the canons of agreement. And somehow that, on the right brain side of the equation, was a skill set that I didn't have. And I realized I'm trying to get somebody to say yes. Can I buy your house? I need them to say yes. Well, I didn't know how to do that either. But this felt like this was a key ingredient to the whole equation. And just 6 months ago, I was visiting and there at the hospital hours before Dr. Shadow passed away.
Oh, man.
I've had a love affair with him for my entire life.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just the 6 years of college I did with him.
Yeah.
But I've been everywhere with him.
Yeah.
As now, not just a student, but somebody that truly appreciates what he teaches. And I've taken him with students of mine to the Cayman Islands, Aruba, Vegas. We did a big thing in Portland. I mean, we've taught together, which with his knowledge and sort of my street application, it was really a worthy training.
Yeah.
But I met him, and then because there were no other classes that I could find in real estate at the time, I got my real estate license, and out of serendipity, placed it on a wall, this little one other license on the wall. Well, that other license happened to be the most successful young real estate broker in the entire area, a gentleman named Tom Newman.
Yeah, tell us about Tom Newman.
Tom had a brain around deal structuring and finance that nobody's ever seen. I've never seen it since.
I'm really interested in, and what I want the listeners to hear is like, you met this person, but how did you get from point A to point B and actually getting to work with them? And I think there's a story here.
Yeah. I had nothing to lose. I was just an 18-year-old kid. And I discovered that not only was his license on the wall of this little shop that I begged the broker to put my license on, but at the time, he was only 28 years old. I was 18. He's 10 years older than me.
Sure.
And the numbers he was doing were inconceivable to me. And so when I figured this out, I tried to find him. I needed to just learn from him. And he was hard to find. His office was in his car with a mobile telephone. Never even heard of one in my life. He had one in his car. So his assistants who were in that office would talk to him in the car. He was always on the move. And he never came in. I said, he's got to come in sometimes. He must drop off files. Well, he comes in the middle of the night, drops off files, but he's always gone. And no, we can't give you his number.
Yeah.
And I went, so I decided, I've sat in a tree stand for a lot of days hunting deer. I can do that. So I packed my bag with all my school books and some food. And I'd go into the office about 9 o'clock at night, my stupid little desk that faced right the front window, and I just waited.
Yeah.
It's got to come in sometime. And finally he came in. And he walked right by me.
Yeah.
Didn't even look at me. I could tell he thought, well, it's convenient that the door's unlocked. Well, I don't need to unlock it. He left his car running, the door open, walked right by me at midnight, dropped off files. And I went, you're not even going to say hi to me. And he was on his way out. Well, I beat him on the way out, and I ran out the door with my backpack, and I got in the car, shut the door of his car. I was in the passenger seat.
You got in the passenger seat.
Put my seatbelt on. Now he's wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
And that was our start. I wouldn't leave.
That was day one.
And I ended up sleeping in his car that night as he finally said, well, I'm going to cook your goose. I'm going to drive home, and I'm not coming back. I go, this is perfect, so we can talk on the way. And in the morning, I'll be there, and we can talk wherever you're going in the morning. And I held my ground, and we became friends.
That's awesome. I don't know that I'd fly today, but that's a good story.
Yeah, I don't suggest anybody doing that.
All right. Well, we're going to go to a quick break here, but you've been listening to Made of More. I'm Chris Erdmann, your host, sitting here with my mentor and friend, Greg Pinneo, and you're on KKNW 1150 AM.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on, and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
yeah,
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Are you ready to discover remarkable stories of resilience and cultural connection? This is Diaspora, a show sharing the journeys of first-generation immigrants from the Indian subcontinent now building their lives in North America. Inspiring, insightful, and always engaging, Diaspora offers a unique perspective on the immigrant experience. Join me, Aditya Mehta, my guests, on the Diaspora Show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. right here on KKNW.
Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to the show Made of More. I'm Chris Erdmann, your host, and you've been listening here with my friend and mentor, Greg Pinneo. Greg, we were just talking about early beginnings, and you were just signed up for a real estate company. You basically got inside this guy's car, and for mentorship, stayed the night in the car, waited for him to come back out in the morning, and what next?
Yeah. Well, he brought 2 cups of coffee at about 5 in the morning. I saw him walk out of the house, and He handed me a cup of coffee and he says, you're a real pain in the ass. But we became friends after that. And I'll tell you, between Dr. Shadow, what I was learning with him, between just watching Newman and his mind work, he wasn't a good teacher. It all happened in his mind. But as I got to watch what he was doing and how he thought, it was just multidimensional. A lot of people think of real estate and it's a very one-dimensional sort of lineal progression, but he was thinking in several dimensions and several ways of monetization of anything that he would involve himself with. And it was fascinating to me. I learned so much from him. And so those two guys, and then of course A.B. Label sort of adopted me as a grandkid when I was a young boy. And his philosophical influence for his whole life was incredibly meaningful. And so, I hear the term self-made. Somebody says that, and I just go, no, well, it may be somebody, but it sure wasn't me. I had amazing parents. I had these three incredible mentors, and I've had many others since then that I just look up to and learn from. But I'm here to tell you that the objective day one was, if I do this right, I'll be able to exit this life never having had a job. I want to do my own thing. And when you do that, especially if you're an innovator, if you're an entrepreneur, sometimes you're the first guy in the door. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the first guy in the door gets shot. And I've taken my share of ammo over the years. I've learned some things, lessons the hard way. And, you get up and you learn and you dust off and you keep going. And I don't know. I wish that weren't the case, but I've sort of been the front runner. And kind of weird. I still feel like I'm 18 years old, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And so a lot of years of watching the evolution of everything under the umbrella of real estate acquisition, development, finance, negotiation. Those are things that have kept my attention from day one. That's what I do. It's what I know.
Yeah.
And it's what I've learned. And I've been blessed to be able to be on the mentorship role for young entrepreneurs like yourself that are willing to learn and do it right without some of the pain that I've had to learn through,
Yeah. What are some of the biggest lessons that you've had in your earlier days of acquisitions and sales?
Yeah. Wow. That opens a can of worms that I suppose we don't have time to go into the full detail, but very early on, I've separated the real estate dirt, sticks, and bricks from the negotiated finance package that at least initially is attached to this acquisition. They're two separate things. So many people look at them as one and the same. They look at real estate and then they just go get financing. It kind of comes with it, right? They're two very separate skill sets, very separate entities, and so I separate them. And the finance package that initially is established to go with this particular piece of real estate, if done correctly, doesn't necessarily have to stay attached to this piece of real estate. It's in and of itself. It becomes a life of its own. And that understanding of separating the dirt, sticks, and bricks from finance is one of the biggest things that has changed the way I do things from so many people. I think through the progress of single-family homes to multiplex and commercial and all forms of construction, you learn the principle of scalability is another principle that tied with hold assets, tied with appreciation over time, scalability comes into the equation of the ability to change the picture rather quickly by one move if the asset is big enough. Remodeling a single-family house, if you can do that, well, you could certainly build a single-family house. And if you could build a single-family house, you could build 100 units. And when I figured that out, that really threw some gas on the fire, too.
Yeah. What year did you build a multifamily?
Oh, I think the first plat that I built was in 1983 or 4.
Okay.
A new construction plat. Yeah.
With apartments or condos?
Multiplexes, yeah.
Multiplexes.
4 buildings, all multiplexes. And but then that opened a door, and there was a decade there, maybe more, that, again, I remember times we had, 6, 8, 10 job sites going on at the same time. And we figured out the formula between finance and acquisition that we could build, and most everything we built, we kept. And we rented, and we held the line. We condoed almost everything that we did, if nothing more than to create multiple first position lien slots. It gives you so many more finance options than, let's say you have a 20-unit building. Well, there's only so many people that can lend you X amount of dollars on a 20-unit building. But if you break it down into 20 separate first position lien slots, they can get loans from 20 different people and give them a first position.
You want to tell everybody what a first position?
Well, any lender on a property is going to want a collateralized interest to back the loan that they've given. And that collateral typically is a recorded lien or agreement on a subject property, on a legal description. And the lien is recorded, and whoever's recorded first is in first position. Then you can get a second position loan and a third position loan. But the first position is the garden spot for any lender. They like to be in first position because they have first recourse to take back the property should you not perform on the promissory note. So that lien slot becomes a big deal. So condoing things out, and I've condoed out a lot of things: airplane hangars, parking lots, mortgage slips, storage units. You can condo out anything and create a separate entity.
Right.
Which creates a whole different finance world. And see, now that enters that second dimension of finance. Right?
Of where the value is.
Yeah. The asset has value, but the finance package has at least as much value.
Not more.
Right.
Tell me a scenario where maybe it would have more.
Oh, wow. Well, let's just take a scenario. I'm just going to pick a simple building. Let's say it's a building that's $1.1 million. And somebody could come along and they could buy that building for $1.1 million, put whatever down they got to do, and then they owe a bank the balance. Okay. The bank has a first position lien. There it is. If you sell the building, you got to pay off the loan. Okay. But what about if that deal was $1.1 million, where you put $100,000 down? Less than 10%. $1 million is in the form of a note whereby the seller's the beneficiary of the note, and you can pay a very favorable market interest on that note. But that note had the ability to move the collateral for that note from the subject property to a different property. There's one dimension that makes it different. Now, what if that note had the ability to slice the $1 million note up into $10,000, $100,000 notes? And all of those notes could be recollateralized elsewhere as long as there's equity and as long as there's cash flow to support the debt. Do you see how just those two things have changed the loan equation greatly?
Right. What do you call that? The bacon, lettuce, tomato with the slice and dice?
Right. Yeah, exactly right. The slice and dice with all the lettuce and tomatoes. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. This is just a small little window of people, if they're curious, how can they learn a little bit more about this?
Well, like I said, Chris, I've been blessed to teach. Honestly, I could name 250 entrepreneurs in the greater Seattle area that I've been blessed to teach right here in this city. But I have entrepreneurs in every major city in this country. I could tell you who's stirring it up in every major city. And so I'm blessed to teach it. And I feel like I understand these things as well as anyone, having done it for a long time. But the business side and all of the finance and all the negotiation and all the creating wealth strategies and product types and on that we get into is all set in an embedded given of how we think, what we believe.
A lot of people don't think this is possible, or they don't even know about it.
Absolutely. And so all of this left brain education is just rendered useless without our own mind and belief systems in sync with possibility, right? And sometimes step one is getting out of our own way, that we become our worst enemy, essentially saying this isn't possible before we even try, before we even look into how to do what others do and is possible. And so that first step of our mind,
or even if it's possible, and you know it, like I've heard it, you talk about the anti-you and maybe not believing, maybe believing you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about your perspective?
There's a lot of obstacles there. You know, the voice in our head is the advocate, the real you. The real you is saying what you really can do and what you really are capable, what your verse is. The anti-you has a goal of sameness, that no upward change happens. Just hold the line. It's not a voice that is destruction, but the destruction comes in no growth.
So where does this anti-you come from?
Well, I mean, this is an interesting topic because I believe it's a spiritual battle. I really do. I believe that it's a voice of faith, which is the real you, or a voice of fear, which is the anti-you. Fear and passion can't live in the same space.
Wow, that's powerful.
And so when we get a clear picture of what we really believe, then the door of possibility is open. We can't create focused intention, or we will never create focused intention if something's impossible. You're not going to intend to do something that's impossible.
Right.
But once it's possible, we can create focused intention around it. And intention is a woo-woo word. Every writer has tried to tackle that word, and all we know is it's a woo-woo word that, man, when you really get focused and you really know what you want, there are those like Rumi that say that not only are you moving toward it, but it starts moving toward you. It's the law of attraction. The power of intention is amazing. And then from intention, we now see opportunity. I hear all the time, it's just no good deal. There's no opportunity. It's like, wow, you're not focused in your intention, you know. And sometimes it's because you don't believe it can happen. So you see, you can back up. But if we see opportunity, now here's the keys to the plane. But now, have we gone to ground school? Do we know the left brain technical strategies? Do we have finance down? Do we have deal structuring down? That's the toolbox that takes work. There's no bypassing that. We've got to know our stuff. And if we do, we create amazing results. And those results automatically upgrade our belief system.
You know,
and here we go. Upward and outward. That's the way it's supposed to go.
Upward and outward. You know, right now I'm thinking we all face the anti-you, and I just want to know, at a moment you face the anti-you.
Oh, I face them every day.
You're not immune.
It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It's not like you cure that now. There's nothing but faith. Oh, no, you got to keep your defense on the field all the time. Because the anti-you's goal is sameness, is a master negotiator, and it knows you, it knows your insecurities, it knows your failures, it knows everything you've ever thought or done that does not serve the purpose of upward and outward, and it's going to remind you, or it's going to delay, or it's going to say, great idea, but let's do it tomorrow. It is an ever-present, ongoing, never-ending battle, the two voices in your head. And so it's one of those things that you start the day arming yourself to focus on that voice of faith. Yeah. Take action on it. Commit to that voice. Because when you commit, as Van Gogh says, providence moves too.
Providence.
When you commit and you say, I hear that voice, it's a faith voice. It's the real you voice. And you run to take action. What you do is you slam the door in the face of the anti-you.
You take that next step.
But you got to commit. When you commit, providence moves too. Not my quote, a great quote. And I believe it. Yeah.
When we get back from the break, I want you to talk about commitment.
Yeah.
And so you're listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann. I'm sitting here with Greg Pinneo, mentor. I don't know that you're an author yet, but I think you should be. You do have your own podcast, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And tune in back after these messages on KKNW.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. If you're struggling with mental health, you should know that there are resources out there that can help. And it's okay to talk about it if you need to. One place to get started with information is loveyourmindtoday.org. Loveyourmindtoday.org offers a range of guides, instructions, and insights for dealing with difficult situations or getting through a tough time. If you're struggling with mental health, get the help you need, because most people out here really care. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chris Erdmann. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, creative minds, and game changers to uncover the real stories behind their business. On my show, Made of More, we explore the challenges that they've overcome, the breakthroughs that they've celebrated, and the mindset that drives them forward. If you're ready to unlock your full entrepreneurial potential, Made of More is the show for you, because here we know you are made of more. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW.
Tell your friends about Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to the show, Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, sitting here with Greg Pinneo, the mentor of real estate and acquisitions and finance. Greg, thank you for sharing these past couple segments. You've shared a lot. Something that we ended on a note with was, what does commitment look like?
Yeah. Wow. I gave the quote, not my quote, that, when you commit, providence moves too. I think commitment is a decision to shut the back door. And there is no plan B. You've burned the dock. You are set sail and you're going. And I think that sends a message everywhere you go that you're going to figure this thing out. It's not that you have to have all the answers to commit. You just have to know enough and follow the voice inside of you. Now, I don't want to sound like an expert in this, because there's certainly times I've moved forward with kind of an ambivalent sort of attitude, and you can feel the difference that when you really know you're supposed to be doing something. What's your verse? What are you really supposed to be doing? You can commit fully and decisively and take it from there. And that's when you get that providence, that help that's going to help navigate the unknown. And so I think commitment's a huge thing. But in a very practical sense, maybe it's my own raising that, I do my very best that if I say I'm going to call you at noon, your phone rings at noon. If I say I'm going to be there, you don't need to remind me.
Yeah.
I
know this about you.
I had a doctor's appointment this last week. I must have got 12 reminders. And I'm like, it almost got to the point I'm being offended here. Like, I got it. I said I would be there. You don't need to remind me 12 times. I know what I'm supposed to do. I said I'd be there. I'm going to be there. But at the core of life and business, to me, I think that's important. Now, is anybody perfect? No. And do we forget things? Yeah, we live in a busy world. But I think that making a decision and being very careful that what I say yes to, I really mean, and I'm going to see it through. It's got to be something deep inside. It's got to come from a passion place to make those kind of commitments, like, oh, hell yeah, whatever it takes. And that kind of focused commitment is what it takes to get great things done.
Right.
Yeah. I had a football coach early on. I was a skinny guy, but I ran the ball. I was fast, but I was so skinny. And he took me aside once and says, Pinneo, listen, if you don't run as fast as those legs take you, you're going to get killed. Just 100%, because otherwise you'll get broken in half.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it then, but that was kind of a metaphor for great endeavor. Don't mess with it. Decide what you want to do and go for it, which means when you say yes, you say no to a lot of things.
Yeah, you do.
And that's okay. I think the key to what you do, it lies in what you choose not to do. And I'm very conscious of that crossroads in every decision, because you only have 24 hours in a day. You can only be at one place at one time. And so choosing those things that really you feel are important, that draw you from every level, that's the key. So, yeah.
What message do you have for the people that are like maybe overcommitted and are probably waking up to your message right now that they do want to commit to something, but they're maybe involved in too many things?
Lay out everything that occupies your time. Just literally write it out, lay it out, and ask the question, is this serving me and the people I love most? Is this worthy of my time?
Yeah.
And the unforgiving minute, as Kipling would describe it, it's the greatest currency of all time, because once it's gone, it's gone. You lose money, go make more money.
Right.
You lose time, that's it. It's gone. It's over. And so truly being aware of that unforgiving minute and looking at things from that lens, how is this serving me and the people I love most? Is this on point to what's most important to me? I mean, you've got 14-year-olds staring at a screen, a phone, for 7.5 hours a day on the average right now. Wow.
Yeah. What's that
You've
doing?
got adults that are watching TV on the average of 4.5 hours a day. What? Why? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, if you don't take command of your time, will take command of you. And so it's living deliberately means being aware of that unforgiving minute. Yeah.
That's really great advice.
Yeah.
What's something that you struggle saying no to today?
I can't think of anything. I'm pretty clear. Maybe you'll feel this way when you get as old as me. And when you factor the wind, I'm about 100 years old. That I really am conscious of every minute. And so I just don't waste time. I'm on point. I mean, there isn't a minute of my day that isn't time blocked and thought out. And I want to do that. And I know why I want to do that. And I feel right about doing that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure there's gaps here and there, but I just don't waste time.
That's something I do know about you. I remember when I met you, you told me about how fast it takes you to shower, how many minutes it takes you to drive to somewhere, and you just laid it all out in one of your classes that you teach.
Yeah, I don't know. I think feeling a sense of urgency of time is respect for what God has given us today. It's like he's given you this day.
Yeah.
There's no promise for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And yesterday's gone. So you get right now. What are you doing? Because you get to say. And we all have been there. We all start to watch some movie and we're like, oh my God, this is a loser. And somehow we sit through it and you feel like you need a shower afterwards. Like, oh, I wish I could take that back.
Yeah.
But you can't. You just wasted an hour and a half, Well, I do my best to see that coming, to put myself in places where this feels important. The conversation's important. The objective's important. It's got to be important.
Got to be important.
Yeah.
For those people that may want to hear more of you, tell us a little bit about, you spent very little time talking about acquisitions, very little time about finance. I mean, we did go very deep, and most of what we're sitting here talking about is experience and kind of mindset, I would say, even spiritual mindset. So what is it that people can expect from you when they do arrive in one of your rooms?
That I'll give you my best effort.
Yeah.
That I'll wring myself out like a shop towel, because there's just no other way with me. It's either you're here 100%, you're going to give it everything you got, or don't show up. Don't show up. Nobody likes a half-ass anything. So I think I could promise that. I hope that when I get time with anybody, whether it's a day at the hangar, or whether it's in a class, or whether I got an hour with you in some group that I get to talk to, I hope that you leave feeling wonderfully disturbed. I hope you feel taller, more able, inspired, But I hope you feel slightly off balance and pissed off. And because I really believe that most adults, when they pass having potential in the can, they pass not having wrung themselves out or seen what they're really capable of. I want everybody on my watch to realize that I want you to see that.
Yeah.
I want you to see what you're really capable of. And I can see it. Sometimes others can see it more. So my job and I get one-on-one is to say, okay, you're really capable here. Let's see how far we can go with this.
Yeah.
And I think that's the objective. God gave us all of who we are to see what we can do with it. I'm going to give it my best effort.
You do give it your best. I have to say, like, sometimes I just keep going back just to get those stories, and because I do feel like you're giving your best, and I do leave a little pissed off sometimes, but a little mad at myself. I think I could do a little bit more.
Well, we all could, Chris, and I don't mean to make it sound like, man, I've got it down. I'm a flat out failure in so many areas in life, but I get up, I dust off, I try to debrief it, and then I try to go do it better.
Do you actually call that a failure if you learn?
No, I don't. But where the objective wasn't met, but it isn't over yet.
Yeah, it's not.
There's a great song. It's become my new favorite song by Lucas Nelson, and it's called Ain't Done. God isn't done with me yet.
Yeah.
I'm still growing. I'm still learning. And growth is the grail. I mean, sameness is the enemy. It is painted on the side of my airplane. It's what I believe. And so sometimes growth is painful. And sometimes there's a lot of personal come to Jesus that goes into growth. Man, you're stuck. You better figure this out. And that drive to just keep trying to overcome what should logically overcome you. That's the great challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
I know you use some examples like the bumblebee.
I am blessed to even have a conversation like this because I'm just a normal guy, but I look around and I realize I don't live a normal life. I feel so blessed to see the world through a lens of possibility.
Yeah, that's something that I do appreciate about having conversation with you is like the knowledge goes deep, and so does like the awareness and the passion to want to teach others is beyond what you experience in most people. But at the same time, you have this groundedness about you, or you're relatable. How do you stay so grounded and relatable when you expect so much?
Man, I think there's a measure that knowing yourself is really a critical element. And I have a realistic picture of who I am. And quite literally, I've slept on a prison cot, and I've slept in a custom-made beautiful fur-framed bed in a house that cost millions and millions of dollars for me to build.
Yeah.
And I feel like in both places I slept the same way. It's like I'm the same guy. And I'm a hardworking guy that can build a pretty good deck. My world has taken me to all kinds of places, I would say beyond that. But at the heart, we're all the same, Chris. We all want to matter. We all want our life to matter. We all want to feel like somebody appreciates what we do. We want to contribute. We want to serve. We're all the same.
Yeah.
And when we realize that, to be no different, better or worse than any human being, that's how I feel. And so if I've discovered something, I feel obligated to say, hey, this might help you. And just as people do that for me, and they say, hey, I've figured out something that I don't think you know. Check this out.
Yeah.
We're better together.
Yeah, you've proven that.
We're better together. Nobody knows it all. But are you contributing your best and bringing your best to the table? Mastermind of humanity is better together. And yet it builds on the premise that everybody's in the arena, wringing themselves out, seeing what they're capable of and discovering their talents and their verse. You don't want to serve the lazy person that's on his ass all day doing nothing. No, I want to be with people who are in that boat and we got the oars and we are pulling in tandem till we want to puke. That's the group that I hang with. That's the group I want to be and be a part of. And I'm blessed to know the likes of you. That's who you are. You don't live casually. You live on purpose.
I try. I have my days, but I try.
Yeah, we all have our days. But,
Yeah.
But that's where we're better together.
Yeah.
You know, we can kick each other's asses and we can say, hey, you got this. I know if anybody can do this, this is your wheelhouse, brother. I'm drafting behind. Go for it. And, you know, it's supporting each other in that way that Power Players is all about, this blessing of this outline that I've taught 41 times.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the blessing of that group of entrepreneurs, over 2,200 of them in the country that I've been blessed to really have an intensive with. They're kicking ass, taking names all over the country.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. There's a lot of big names around the country.
It's awesome.
You know, you mentioned a few things in here I don't even think I could dive into because I don't think we have time, but it's almost, there's 2 or 3 other podcasts right in some of the last few sentences you were saying.
Yeah.
You did mention Power Players. I know you're not one to want to like promote, but I do want to do everybody a favor because I think I'm doing everybody a favor. If you could take a moment to talk about where to find you and why and who it is you're looking for.
Yeah. Maybe why is a good question because I hope that I do more than just teach real estate. I really want to inspire you to live a deliberate life. But I'm easy to find, and look me up and you'll see this has been one hell of a journey. I don't sit in a bubble and in some padded room. I'm out there living an entrepreneurial life, and I have for 50 years. So, like I said, I've had a few missiles.
Yeah.
But the easiest way to get a hold of me, quite honestly, is my phone number. And if you don't mind, I don't mind.
Give it up.
Yeah, 206-226-7777. And that's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Call or text.
Either way, doesn't matter. Most of the time, it'll go to a voicemail. I get it, and then I'll be back to you. Or you can text me, and I'll be back to you.
Yeah. You're usually back within 24 hours.
I really work at it.
Yeah.
I do. I fill every minute, so it's important to me. I'm not always perfect with that. With Power Players, I am. 24 hours. I've never missed that one. And I have a couple days every year where they're just days on me. We call them days at the hangar.
Yeah.
There's one coming up in September, Marriott in Redmond. And it's a day on me. I buy the lunch. You'll leave with the T-shirt, and I'm going to wring myself out for a whole day. No charge. It's on me. And I do that really for my students that want people to be exposed to how I think. And I feel privileged to do it. So that's twice a year I do that. Once in the fall, once in the early spring.
Definitely worth showing up to.
Yeah.
Greg, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to drive all the way over here.
No
Meet us
worries.
in something that looks like what do you call it, an air tower?
Air traffic control tower. This is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you're busy, and thank you for sharing all your experience and wisdom with everybody and whoever's listening.
Well, I got to tell everybody that in about 2 weeks from now, you will be a guest on my podcast, and I get to be the one asking the questions, and you get to talk for the whole time.
All right. I'll be in the hot seat.
I'll look forward to that, too.
Yeah, same here.
Thanks again, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Made of More on KKNW. Whether you're on the road, at the office, or listening from home, keep chasing what lights you up, keep building what matters, and never settle for less than the life you were made for. You are made of more. More purpose, more impact, more joy. Made of More is part of the Staying Power network of shows and podcasts, all of which that are dedicated to inspiring listeners to build lives of meaning, connection, and value. You can find the Staying Power network of shows, including Made of More, wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us on YouTube. Until next Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I'm Chris Erdmann. Stay bold, stay inspired, and stay made of more.